So I recently heard from a good authority that Aerodactyl in the NU tier only ever runs Focus Sash. And I said to that, you know what, let's change that. I want to see Hone Claws Aerodactyl do something. I like Hone Claws Aerodactyl. I know Aerodactyl got Dragon Dance recently. It was either this gen or last gen, I forget which. And that's cool. Dragon Dance is always a good move to have. But the one thing I do like about Hone Claws specifically is that it's Hone Claws plus Stone Edge plus Dual Wing Beat. I think the synergy is really good there. Aerodactyl already outspeeds a lot of what's in the tier, unless it's Shell Smash, Blastoise, or something like that. So you have a good speed tier. You don't really need the speed. What you do need is the accuracy. Accurate Stone Edges, accurate Dual Wing Beats, those are really valuable. And so I really wanted to try that out. See, I'm not going to say that Hone Edge Aerodactyl is good in the NU tier, but if it's not good, let's find out why. What are the limitations of Aerodactyl running this set in the tier? So as you can see here, we've got what you would expect from a Hone Claws Aerodactyl. Nothing to write home about here. I'm running Life Orb because I want the extra oomph. Aerodactyl doesn't have any defense to speak of, so there's no reason running anything. Even like heavy duty boots, you're going to get one, maybe two chances to get in and do any damage. So I'm not too concerned about taking Stealth Rock. I just want damage, and Life Orb is a good option for that. Next up, we got Arachnid. Now, I just said that Aerodactyl has a good speed tier, but you can never be too careful, and so having Sticky Web isn't the worst option. Also, it may make my opponent want to defog, which gives my Aerodactyl or my Ground Volley an opportunity to get in and get up in a Sword Stance or a Hone Claws, because my opponent's busy defogging or rapid spinning. So I think that's not too bad of a move to have. And the last move is Ice Beam. I know that it doesn't do too much off base 50 special attack, and Liquidation is almost always better. But in the rare instance that I need to deal with my Vileplume with the Arachnid, I think Ice Beam is still a better option. I'm not exactly sure what should be in this spot. Maybe Magic Coat would be better in the end of the day. Unfortunately, Mirror Coat isn't an option on Arachnid, I believe. If it is, maybe I should actually, let's check that. Mirror Coat. Can you get Mirror Coat right now? Oh, you can. Maybe Mirror Coat would have been better. Because I do like Mirror Coat Arachnid, but for some reason I had it in my head that it didn't get Mirror Coat this gen. But I guess with Home, maybe it does. Alright, on to Togedemaru. Togedemaru is running a really support-based set. We've got Lightning Rod for Rotom-Mow, and we run Toxic so we can touch Rotom-Mow, and Spiky's Shield lets us scout with choice attackers, as well as punishing physical-based attackers that might want to be annoying. I could have dropped Nuzzle in favor of Substitute, and that would have been maybe an option, but I also really do like Nuzzle for getting off those pair chances and making things that otherwise might be pretty fast and annoying, slower than Savali Ground, and slower than Surfetched. So I think that this is an okay set. Maybe it's not particularly optimal for this team, but this is the set I usually like to run on Togedemaru. Next we got Grand Volley. This is just the standard set for an offensive version, and its job is to either clean up at the end or break through a game. It helps a lot with Vileplume as well, because at +2, Vileplume only needs a bit of chip on it to deny the multi-attack, and so that's really nice for the Surfetched and to a less degree Aerodactyl. And Copperajah is an Assault Vest set. This Assault Vest set allows us to deal a bit better with Indeedee as well as Blastoise, because we don't really have much in the way of switch-ins for special attackers. Arachnid, does have decent special bulk, but nothing too crazy. And also, Copperajah could deal better maybe with Vileplume if I gave it a fire move, but I wasn't thinking about that when I built this team. But you'll see that maybe having Heat Crash would have been a better move on Copper. I think Superpowers here specifically as an option for, I think it's Guzzlord plus Stack Attacka. Correct me if I'm wrong on that point, but I think I might have dropped either Stone Edge or Superpower for Heat Crash if I were to continue on with this team. Finally, we got Surfetched here, and this is just Bandit Surfetched. I like Bandit Surfetched. It punches holes through lots of stuff. It doesn't care about Intimidate. It's really good. So yeah, that's the team. I really want to see Aerodactyl put in work, and maybe some of the other guys too. I'm not too familiar with NU, but we're going to do our best. So in this game, I led off with my Silvally Ground. You can see that my opponent has a wide array of Pokemon that none of them seem to be a dedicated lead, and although I have what seems to be a dedicated lead in Aerodactyl, I don't actually have a dedicated lead either. I don't know why I chose to lead off with Silvally Ground. I guess I just thought I want to get off damage at the beginning of the game, and I have no clue what he's going to lead off with. In retrospect, I don't think it was the greatest lead. If you let off with Indeedee, I don't necessarily want to stay in on it. I don't know if Flame Charge into multi-attack kills that, but if he let off with Blastoise, that would have been an issue. And he could have let off with Blastoise, predicting my Aerodactyl or my Arachnid to lead off. So that would not have been great. Leading off with Salazzle, I guess that would have been good, but that would have been a weird lead if he thought I was going to lead with either of those aforementioned Pokemon. So I don't know why I let off with Ground Volley. But in the end, he leads off with Guzzlord, and I decided, you know what, I want Guzzlord dead. It's not like it particularly does anything too crazy against my team, but I just want to get damage off. I don't really know what to do against my opponent's team. And so I just wanted to get this dead. He has an Aguav Berry there. I could have Sword Stanced and gotten past that, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to be forced to switch out because I don't want to sack this quite yet. I'm going to Aerodactyl predicting a fire move, but he's going to go for Dragon Pulse, which is weird. I want to kill it. It's on the balloon, so I have to go for Stone Edge. This may be no guard Machamp, since we don't see a Flame Orb and I hit Stone Edge. I'm going to switch out here, predicting Bullet Punch. He actually goes for Knockoff, which is a really weird play, given that I could have killed him with Dual Wing Beat. I'm going to Liquidation, because I'd rather have this dead than get up Sticky Web. And I think that was an okay play. Now I get to go into Togedemaru. I predict a Bullet Punch or any move here, and he hits my Spiky Shield with high horsepower of all moves. I'm going to switch out here, sack my Ground Volley. He goes for Toxic, which is a really weird play. But I guess this may not have a fire move after all. In which case, what is this Dragon Pulse Toxic set? I'm going to Stone Edge again here. He goes into Golurk, which once again means I'm not going to miss. But I don't want to stay in on this. I don't think he's going to go for Earthquake, right? Here he goes for Stone Edge. I figure he's probably locked in, so I'm going to U-turn out. And that actually allows me to break the Salazzle's balloon. And so I'm going to go back into Aerodactyl, and now I can go for a safe Earthquake. Well, everything. He decides to sack Salazzle because he doesn't want to switch into the EQ. Goes into Golurk, and at this point I just want damage. And here we find out that the Golurk is Rocky Helmet. I've never seen Rocky Helmet Golurk. I don't know why you would run that set. He wasn't locked in either, apparently. But whatever. I'm going to kill it with Knockoff. And at this point, he has to basically go Indeedee. So he does. And I'm going to go into my Copperajah because that's what it's here for. He doesn't predict that and go for Mystical Fire. And here he goes for Energy Ball, and I have absolutely no clue why, but it's the bottom of the ladder, so what are you going to do? I knock it out with Heavy Slam. And here the Blastoise has to set up. It's not going to save it because I have Power Up and I do hit. And that's the end of the game. Alright, Game 2. Here we've got a electric terrain spam team in NU. This is my first time facing such a team. And it's pretty scary. I don't really know, again, what to lead. But I figure Ground Volley is a pretty decent lead because I feel like Pincurchin would be a pretty obvious lead. I don't know why you wouldn't lead Pincurchin, because if you're trying to spam electric terrain, then you would lead Pincurchin. If you think I'm going to lead Aerodactyl, maybe then you would lead Pincurchin, try to get off electric, or maybe you'd switch out into Uxie and start from there. I'm not exactly sure, but I figure Pincurchin is probably the lead. As it turns out, he leads off with Duraludon. That's still not a good matchup for my Silvally, and I figure he's going to go into Uxie, so I click Flame Charge here to just, get off some speed. I want to get faster than what I know is going to speed up here. I click SD, he's not going to stay in, obviously. Here I could have predicted the Sceptile and gone for Flame Charge instead of multi-attack, but if you look in the calc, it only does just barely more damage to Sceptile and compared to multi-attack, so that prediction didn't need to be made. I think that it was better to always click multi-attack at that point. Now I have to switch out because the Subtile is faster than me. I'm going to go into Togedemaru. I'm not Rocky Helmet or Iron Barbs, so it's not going to take any damage. And this is where I make a really important misplay. Again, I'm not familiar with the tier nor this particular team archetype, so I stay in and I don't even bother spiky shielding because I figure, hey, he's going to have Leaf Blade, he's going to have Acrobatics, but I don't think that, oh yeah, he'll also have Earthquake. And I sack my Togedemaru, and that's going to be really important, as we'll see later. So that was really bad on my part. At this point, I go Arachnid because I know I can leech life. Even with my minus defense nature, I still live in Acrobatics because Subtile is very weak. And I'm able to kill the Arachnid. Here he goes Duraludon, which I was surprised by, but he does still KO in terrain. Maybe he's Choice Specs, I don't know. Oh no. I guess he's not. I forgot. Here I figure he's going to go into Uxie, so I Heavy Slam, but he decides to stay in, and I Superpower. And I go down with Duraludon. Able to go back into Pincurchin, get up his electric terrain again. Here I go to Surf Fetched. I figure I need to start punching holes in things. I click Knock Off because I figure he's going to go into his Uxie. And then he does not, so he's able to get off lots of damage before he eventually going into Uxie. Here, I keep on clicking Knock Off because I need to get damage off on the Uxie. And eventually he kills me with Stored Power. But because it doesn't click Rest, he's a very low HP, and I'm actually able to come in and get off a Flame Charge. So I think if he had Rest, he should have clicked it, but he does not. I don't want to take a Power Whip, so I'm going to go into my Copperajah. And that is what he goes for. And I'm able to kill the Delmise with a Heavy Slam, no problem. But at this point, I'm already looking towards the end game. I know I can kill Pincurchin as well. That's easy enough. Quick Power, because I don't know if Heavy Slam killed it. Probably did. But now Raichu's the big problem. He is able to kill me with Grass Knot. He actually shows Grass Knot, which means I know I'm not dealing with Surf. I'm dealing with Grass Knot. I try to dance around with Ground Volley and Aerodactyl. Here, maybe if I'd gone back to Aerodactyl, all I need to do was stall out that terrain. But ultimately I'm not able to dance properly, and the Raichu is able to win. So GG to that guy. He clearly knows what he's doing. He's a little bit higher up on the ladder. I know in the 1200s doesn't seem too great for being high up on the ladder, but it's NU, and NU ladder is not very active, so that actually is pretty decent. I think the big misplay I made was stacking my Togedemaru. Togedemaru, if we look at its value against Raichu, who is, one of the biggest threats on this kind of team, because I've got Lightning Rod, I don't care about its rising voltage. And Side Shock, I'm going to naturally resist. A Focus Blast, potentially it could have not had Side Shock, it could have had Focus Blast, Grass Knot, and I don't know if it does. If it does, obviously it doesn't matter. Ultimately, I still lose. But if it did have Grass Knot Side Shock, then I would have easily been able to stall it out and keep around Aerodactyl. So sacking Ground Volley to Subtile even maybe would have been just a better value proposition in the end, just out of needing certain pieces, or maybe sacking some other Pokemon like Copperajah to Subtile might have been better. I'm not exactly sure, but letting the Togedemaru take damage means that I have nothing for Raichu, because Raichu blows back even Assault Vest Copperajah. So that's unfortunate, but we'll learn from that game, and we'll keep the Togedemaru around for future games if we have to face another Raichu. Alright, game 3 for today. I'm facing off against a pretty interesting team. It's got Licky Licky on it, and then the rest of the mons are more standard, I feel like, for NU. And so looking at this team lead off, I say, alright, if he leads off with Vileplume or Hitmontop, Arachnid would be, or not Arachnid, Aerodactyl would be a decent lead. If he leads off with Licky Licky, I can go into Togedemaru. If he leads off with Uxie, and that's not too bad. Maybe I can set up a Hone Claws on it, depending on what kind of Uxie it is. It maybe not want to stay in if I taunt it, so I'd get a free Hone Claws off. And at this point, I sort of wanted to get Aero to do anything, because I feel like it hasn't done too much in the previous games. So I wanted to lead off with Mon. I wanted to showcase. The only problem, of course, is if it leads off with Starmie. Starmie would be a problem, but I can always switch into Araquanid on it, so I have a backup for that option. So he leads off with his Starmie, and so I unfortunately get that lead completely wrong, so I go into what I had already decided on, and it takes tons of damage, so this is probably analytic. I click Leech Life, predicting him to switch out or want to stay in. Either way, that's a good option here. Ice Beam doesn't do jack against the Vileplume, but hey, I'm okay with my Araquanid going to sleep because I need everything else. Here he goes for Leech Seed. I don't have Heat Crash, unfortunately, but I am able to scare it out, and I go into my Aerodactyl. He goes into him on top, and here I'm not thinking. I think Intimidate isn't going to carry Triple Axle, but it does. And he's actually able to one-shot me with Triple Axle. If I had, of course, if he'd gotten 2 hits or whatever, I would have been able to kill it with dual Wing Beat, but it is what it is. Brave Bird on the switch or stay in. Here he actually tricks me at Choice Scarf, and this is a misplay on his part, because Choice Band Surfetched is a problem, but Choice Scarfed Surfetch is also a problem, and either way it's a problem. Here I'm going to switch out because I have a valuable piece now. The Analytic Psyshock is able to blow me back, and at this point I go Togedemaru. I click U-turn, predicting him to want to switch out. That's fine. I go into my Choice Scarf Togedemaru. I'm just going to click Brave Bird again, not going to predict. He goes into Hitmon top, which is funny because that's a weak to bird into weak to bird, and there goes the Hitmon top. I don't die to recoil, which is nice. I go into Togedemaru on the Licky Licky because I'm not going to get messed around with Toxic, and actually I'm able to Toxic the Licky Licky myself, which is nice. Here, I click Nuzzle in case he wants to switch out into something else, and he goes into Vileplume, so I guess that's okay. I wasn't going to be able to Toxic it anyway. And here I'm going to spike his shield just to see what he wants to do. He's going to go for Sleep Powder, which I don't really want to switch in anything else to, so I'm just going to stay in, click Nuzzle again, and here we go. If I had Iron Head, of course I could have tried to go for Flinches, but, I don't. Here I go back into Copperaja. Last time I was able to scare him out with Heat Crash, so I go for Power Whip, protect him to maybe want to go into Starmie, but at this point, they're not intimidated. At this point, we've seen 3 moves out of 4. I don't know what his last move is at this point, but I decide to brave going into Surfetched here because I figured maybe he'll go for Leech Seed again. He actually goes for Toxic, and that's its last move. So it doesn't have any attacking moves on this Vileplume. So if I had sub on any of my Mons, this would be a non-issue of a Pokemon. Here I'm going to make a prediction. I feel like he's going to switch out. There's no way he stays in, so I close combat, which I think was a really good prediction on my part. Now I have a 1%, but still Choice Scarf to Surfetched, and he can't do anything about it. I'm going to go into Copperaja. Heavy Slam to get off some chip, but it's not going to do too much. I don't want to stay in, keep getting whittled down. I'm going to go to Togedemaru. At this point, I hadn't recognized that he'd shown all his moves yet, so I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I sort of figured sacking the Togedemaru would be an option. I was sort of working through the problem in my head, and he kept going for Sleep Powder as I tried to wake up. And at this point, I was like, does he not know about Sleep Claws? I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to do. I actually risked going to Ground Volley. He actually gets full parried here. I Swords Dance up as he goes for Leech Seed, fair enough. And I'm going to go for Flame Charge because I want to get faster than Tauros and Starmie in the back. And he goes for Strength Sap, which is fair. I'm going to go for another Swords Dance because now it'll be 2.5 times. He goes for Sleep Powder, which means I do think maybe he doesn't know about Sleep Claws. Go for another Flame Charge, so now I'm a +2. Once again, another Sleep Powder. This is once again, does not matter because I have my Togedemaru in the back. Might as well click Flame Charge again because multi-attack, I believe, is also a contact move, so it wouldn't matter in terms of trying to avoid Effect Spore. And at this point, the game is over. So overall, we both made misplays in this game, and the Aerodactyl didn't do anything. But, I feel like I did decently in this game at the very least. To end off today's video, we've got a mirror match with Aerodactyl and Araquanid, and Copperaja too. But Araquanid and Aerodactyl are sort of the unique Mons, and we got both of them going at the same time. So I decide that I'm going to lead off with Ground Volley in case he leads off with his own Aerodactyl. Maybe it's a lead Aerodactyl. It also pairs up, or matches up well against Copperaja and against Dragalge. And I don't know exactly what he's going to lead. he leads off with a Arachnid, and I say, well, I don't want to switch into this, and I know he's probably going to go for a Sticky Web, so I'm just going to Rock Slide, try to get a flinch. I don't get a flinch on the Sticky Web, but I do get a flinch on the second one. I'm going to multi-attack here so that I don't miss, and Flame Charge will not kill, so I have to go for multi-attack here. I'm going to switch out into my own Arachnid. He gets a crit with Snipe Shot, which is fair. That's what that move does. Here he tries to get his own flinch, but he does not get it. And then here he goes for another Snipe Shot, does not get the crit, and I'm able to leech life enough health back to where I'm out of range of most of his non-crit moves. I don't know why he goes for Ice Beam there. I'm able to actually kill him with Liquidation, and that was probably a pretty bad move on his part, because that was a pretty important mon. The sack Arachnid doesn't do too much at this point. I'm going to go into my own Ground Volley, because, Ground Volley carries Rock-type moves. You don't want to stay in with Aero. But he does not care, so that's unfortunate. I do outspeed Tauros if he wants to switch it in, but I think it would have probably been better if I had just clicked Rock Slide and not predicted, because I lose my Ground Volley to his Aerodactyl. However, I'm able to go into my own Aero, and I'm able to click Dual Wing Beat, and Dual Wing Beat is able to take out his own Aerodactyl, because I win a speed tie, which is nice. Here I don't one-shot with Earthquake, I believe, and a Copperage is a pretty safe switch in because it resists its moves and it's Solfest. Just going to click Heavy Slam as a Dragon Tails, which is not a move you usually see. I'm going to go back into my Aerodactyl and just finish it off with Earthquake. No reason to do anything fancy. And here he's going to go Tauros, and the Aerodactyl is the one mon I wanted to actually outspeed with, this Aerodactyl. And I'm actually able to land a Stone Edge. I wanted to get max damage so that I could kill it with U-turn from Togi, but do not get that. So I have to risk First Impression. If he'd have switched into Copperage there, we might have had an issue, but he did not. I'm actually going to switch out here, go into my Togedemaru, and so that I can get locked into close combat. He's actually an Iron Defense set, which is weird. I don't want to switch into that. And good thing too, because it's Seat Crash, that hits pretty hard. But at this point, even at +2 defense, I'm still able to kill with Banded Close Combat. So overall, this team is fine. I think that it definitely has some weak points, and I think that if I want to improve on this team, I need to look at the tier, figure out what Mons Aerodactyl can set up on, and that this team needs to be more Volt Turn oriented. I think I need to put maybe a Rotomon and maybe a couple other Mons that are more Volt Turn related. Probably take off Arachnid is another good option, because what I need to do is I need to force Mons out with my guys so that I can get an Aerodactyl on a disadvantageous matchup, and then click Hone Claws into the Mon coming in. That would be more useful, I think, as opposed to what we've currently got here. But aside from that, I think it's not too bad. And if Aerodactyl or maybe Choice Band, it wouldn't even care about having to try to set up, and it wouldn't be too bad. It would just miss a lot, and that is the frustration of using Aerodactyl at the end of the day. So yeah, that's the video. I'll see you next time.